Sports Live with a live stream regarding high school sports. I'm broadcasting live from the Veterans Memorial Park in Huntsville, Alabama. It's such a beautiful park this time of year, as you can kind of see from the landscape here. Anyway, the Alabama High School Athletic Association high school football playoffs for the 2024 season will begin on November 8th of 2024 with first round action. Second round will be played November 15th, 2024. The quarterfinals round, or round 3, will be played November 22nd through 24. The semifinal round, or round 4, will be played November 29th of 2024. The final, or championships, will take place December 4th through 6th. The playoff format that I just mentioned is for Class 1A through 6A. For Class 7A, it will be first round on November 8th, 2024. The quarterfinals are round 2 on November 15th of 2024. The semifinals are round 3 on November 22nd of 2024. And the finals for Class 7A will be on December 4th of 2024. In Classes 1A through 6A, there are 8 regions. From each region, the top 4 teams qualify for the playoffs. In Class 7A, there's only 4 regions, and the top 4 from each region qualify for the playoffs. So, based on information that I was able to gather, let's look at the teams who have qualified for the actual high school football playoffs. And some of this information may or may not be complete, but I'll just go with what information I have. So, we will go based on each and every classification, 1A through 7A. In Class 1A, Region 1, the teams that are in the playoffs are as follows: Leroy, Sweetwater, Milry, and Southern Choctaw. Class 1A, Region 2, McKenzie, Elba, Georgiana, Florala. Class 1A, Region 3 is Linden, University Charter School, Choctaw County, don't have the other one. Class 1A, Region 4, Maplesville, Autauga Academy, Verbena, and Keith. In Class 1A, Region 5, Lynn, Berry, Hubbardsville, Pickens County. In Class 1A, Region 6, it is Wadley, Winterboro, Donahoe, and Victory Christian, and I don't have the rest. In Class 1A, Region 7, Hackleburg, Meek, Addison, and Cherokee. In Class 1A, Region 8, Spring Garden, Appalachian, Ragland, and Valley Head. In Class 2A, Region 1, teams in the playoffs: Clark County, J.U. Blackshore, Washington County, St. Luke's Episcopal. Class 2A, Region 2, Cottonwood, Providence Christian, Ariton, Houston County. Class 2A, Region 3, Highland Home, Goshen, Luverne, and Zion Chapel. I don't have the rest. Class 2A, Region 4, Reeltown, Lochapoka, Horseshoe Bend, Lynette. In Class 2A, Region 5, Tuscaloosa Academy, Vincent, Sulligent, and Aliceville. Class 2A, Region 6, Coosa Christian, they are no longer in. That would be actually Cold Springs now. Coosa Christian got disqualified as a result of violating rules within the High School Athletic Association. So in Coosa Christian's place, it is going to be Cold Springs that will be in place. Southeastern, Falkville, and Susan Moore. In Class 2A, Region 7, the only teams that I saw were Pisgah and Pleasant Valley. Class 2A, Region 8, Winston County, Decatur Heritage, Lexington, and Red Bay. For Class 3A, Region 1, T.R. Miller, Bayside Academy, Excel, and Hillcrest Evergreen. Class 3A, Region 2, Montgomery Academy, Houston Academy, Trinity Presbyterian, and Alabama Christian. Class 3A, Region 3, Thomasville, Southside and Selma, Hale County, and Thorsby. Class 3A, Region 4, I don't have the full information, but I know Glenwood School and Randolph County. In Class 3A, Region 5, it's Winfield, Gordo, Vinemont, Midfield. Class 3A, Region 6, the only team that I know that made it was Piedmont. Again, I don't have all the information on this part of the live stream, but I'm just going with what I have. And the information is valid as of late in the evening on Halloween on October 31st of 2024. As I get into the live stream, I'll have more updated information, and I'll go over that when I get to that point. In Class 2A, Region 7, Mars Hill Bible, Lauderdale County, Rogers, and Colbert County. In Class 3A, Region 8, Fife, Sylvania, Geraldine, and Collinsville. In Class 4A, Region 1, the teams I have are Jackson and St. Michael Catholic. Again, I don't have all the information for all of these regions, but later in the broadcast, when I go over the brackets, it'll make sense. It'll start making sense, and teams that are missing will be placed, and it'll make sense at that point. For Class 4A, Region 2, it is Dale County, Opp, Strawn, and Ashford. In Class 4A, Region 3, Tallahassee, St. James, Handley, Bullock County. Class 4A, Region 4, Pleasant Grove, Bibb County, Oak Grove, Fairfield. In Class 4A, Region 5, Good Hope, Dora, Fultondale, and Hamilton. Class 4A, Region 6, Cherokee County, Hoax Bluff, Alexandria, and Anniston. Class 4A, Region 7, the only one I got was West Morgan. Class 4A, Region 8, North Jackson, Randolph, and Huntsville. Those are the only ones I have at that point. Class 5A, Region 1, Vigor, Williamson, Citronelle, and UMS Wright Prep. Class 5A, Region 2, Montgomery Catholic, Charles Henderson in Troy, Andalusia, and Eufaula. Class 5A, Region 3, Demopolis, Shelby County, Northside, and Sipsey Valley. In Region 4 for Class 5A, it'll be Central and Clay County, Beauregard, Elmore County, and Holtville. Class 5A, Region 5, Corner, Ramsey, Winona, G.W. Carver in Birmingham. Class 5A, Region 6, Moody, Leeds, Centerpoint, and Jacksonville. Class 5A, Region 7, Fairview, Russellville, Ardmore, Lawrence County. Class 5A, Region 8, Gunnersville, Boaz, Arab, and Scottsboro. In Class 6A, Region 1, Saraland, St. Paul's, Episcopal, and Spanish Fort. Don't have the other one. In Class 6A, Region 2 is Pike Road, Russell County, Wetumpka, and Percy Julian. Class 6A, Region 3, Spain Park, Helena, Benjamin Russell, and Chelsea. Class 6A, Region 4, Hueytown, McAdory, Northridge, and Bessemer City. In Class 6A, Region 5, the only two I had at this time was A.H. Parker versus Homewood. Class 6A, Region 6, Oxford, Clay Chalkville, Mountain Brook, and Pell City. Class 6A, Region 7, Muscle Shoals, Hartsville, Athens, and Coleman. In Class 6A, Region 8, it is Fort Payne, Gadsden City, and Buckhorn. For Class 7A, Region 1, Mary G. Montgomery, Baker, Daphne, and Fairhope. Class 7A, Region 2, Auburn, Opelika, Central Phoenix City, and Enterprise. Class 7A, Region 3, Hoover, Thompson, Hewitt-Trussville, Vestavia Hills. Class 7A, Region 4, Austin, James Clemens, Florence, and Bob Jones. Now that we know which teams are going to the playoffs for the Alabama High School Football Association, or Alabama High School Athletic Association for football for the 2024 season, let's look at who is actually going to be playing each other in the first round of the playoffs, 1A through 7A. Note, the number 1 and number 2 teams in region will host the first round game, where number 3 and number 4 have to travel. We won't get into specifics like that, but we will cover who is playing who. And in some cases, the gaps have been filled regarding what I didn't mention earlier, and some of it may have changed based off of who actually got in. Some teams did get disqualified for other reasons, which I won't get into. So, let's go through this. In Class 1A, the bracket is as follows. McKenzie versus Keith, University Charter versus Milry, Maplesville versus Florala, Sweetwater versus Choctaw County, Leroy versus Pickens Academy, Autauga Academy versus Georgiana, Linden versus Southern Choctaw, Elba versus Verbena, Wadley versus Valley Head, Meek versus Hubbardsville, Spring Garden versus Victory Christian, Berry versus Addison, Lynn versus Cherokee, Appalachian versus Donahoe, Hackleburg versus Pickens County, Winterboro versus Raglan. In Class 2A, the bracket is as follows: Cottonwood versus Lynette, Goshen versus Washington County, Reeltown versus J.U. Blackshear versus Laverne, York County versus Zion Chapel, Lochapoka versus Ariton, Highland Home versus St. Luke's Episcopal, Providence Christian versus Horseshoe Bend, Southeastern versus Red Bay, Pleasant Valley versus Sologent, Winston County versus Cold Springs, Vincent versus Sandrock, Tuscaloosa Academy versus North Sand Mountain, Decatur Heritage Christian Academy versus Susan Moore, Pisgah versus Aliceville, Falkville versus Lexington. In Class 3A, it will be Montgomery Academy versus Dadeville, Southside and Selma versus Hillcrest Evergreen, Glenwood versus Alabama Christian Academy, Bayside Academy versus Hale County, T.R. Miller versus Thorsby, Randolph County versus Trinity Presbyterian, Thomasville versus Excel, Houston Academy versus Beulah, Piedmont versus Collinsville, Lauderdale County versus Vinemont, Fife versus Ohatchee, Gordo versus Rogers, Winfield versus Colbert County, Sylvania versus Weaver, Mars Hill Bible versus Midfield, Locust Fork versus Geraldine. In Class 4A, for the bracket for the high school football playoffs, will be Dale County versus Fairfield, St. James versus W.S. Neal, Pleasant Grove versus Strawn, St. Michael Catholic versus Handley, Jackson versus Bullock County, Bibb County versus Opp, Tallahassee versus Mobile Christian, Ashford versus Oak Grove, Cherokee County versus Westminster Christian, Central and Florence versus Hamilton, North Jackson versus Alexandria, Dora versus Brooks, Good Hope versus Hatton, Randolph School versus Anniston, West Morgan versus Fayette County, Hokes Bluff versus Madison Academy. Excuse me. In Class 5A, Montgomery Catholic, Holtville, in Shelby County. Montgomery Catholic versus Holtville, Shelby County versus Centronell, Central of Clay County versus Greenville, Williamson versus Northside, Vigor versus Sipsey Valley, Beauregard versus Eufaula, Demopolis versus UMS Wright Prep, Andalusia versus Elmore County, Moody versus Arab, Russellville versus Winona, Scottsboro versus Jacksonville, Ramsey versus Ardmore, Corner versus Lawrence County, Boaz versus Centerpoint, Fairview versus G.W. Carver from Birmingham, Leeds versus Guntersville. In Class 6A, it'll be Pike Road versus Bessemer City, Helena versus St. Paul's Episcopal, Hueytown versus Percy Julian, Spanish Fort versus Benjamin Russell, Saraland versus Chelsea, McAdory versus Wetumpka, Spain Park versus McGill Tulin, Russell County versus Northside, Oxford versus Buckhorn, Hartselle versus Minor, Fort Payne versus Pell City, Homewood versus Athens, A.H. Parker versus Coleman, Southside versus Mountain Brook, Muscle Shoals versus Mortimer Jordan, Clay Chalkville versus Gadsden City. In Class 7A, it'll be Auburn versus Bob Jones, Thompson versus Daphne, Austin versus Enterprise, Baker versus Hewitt Trussville, Mary G. Montgomery versus Vestavia Hills, James Clemens versus Central Phoenix City, Hoover versus Fairhope, Opelika versus Florence, and all of the games within the playoffs will start at 7 p.m. Central Time on that Friday evening unless otherwise specified. Now that we've talked about the first round for high school football, let's move into the next sport that we will be covering, which will be flag football. The flag football playoffs are also here as well. Flag football is considered a girls' sport that is sanctioned within the Alabama High School Athletic Association and involves teams in all classifications 1A through 7A. Not every school has a flag football team, so the classifications will be divided as follows: 1A through 5A, and then 6A through 7A. playoff format for flag football is as follows. Round 1, November 4th through 7th. Round 2, November 11th through 14th. The quarterfinals are November 18th through 21st. The semifinals are November 25th through 28th. The finals for 1A through 5A, and then the 6A through 7A will be on December 4th of 2024. Rounds 1 and 2 can be combined if necessary. Here is who is going to be competing in round 1. We'll start with the class 1A through 5A. Brubaker Tech versus Francis Marion. Booker T. Washington versus LaFleur. Montgomery Catholic versus Carroll. Alberta versus Valley. BC Rain versus Lee Short Academy. Marbury versus Charles Henderson. Tallahassee versus Satusma. Northside Methodist Academy versus Selma. Moody versus St. Clair County. Ramsey versus Sipsey Valley. Boaz versus Midfield. Greensboro versus Anniston. Northside versus Fultondale. Westminster Christian versus John Carroll Catholic. Leeds versus Hale County. Winona versus J.B. Pennington. In the class 6A through 7A classification, here are the ones competing, in the playoffs. First round. Daphne versus Hillcrest, Tuscaloosa. Auburn versus Davidson. Northridge versus Enterprise. McGill-Tulane versus Opelika. Alma Bryant versus Smith Station. Brookwood versus Dothan. Central Phoenix City versus Theodore. Foley versus Central and Tuscaloosa. Hueytown versus Austin. Clay Chalkville versus Spain Park. Decatur versus Jackson, Olin. Vestavia Hills versus Gadsden City. Prattville versus Oxford. Lee versus Minor. Hewitt-Trussville versus Hoover. Homewood versus Bob Jones. Note, for football and flag football playoffs, all games will be played at school sites through the semifinals. The state championship will be played wherever they have the Super 7 championships, which I will get into when it gets a little closer to time. They say it's going to be played at the Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, either Legion Field or Protection Stadium in Birmingham, Alabama. So we shall see with that. So next, we'll move into the next sport to cover for this high school sports update. In high school swimming and diving, the state meet is going to be held November 22nd through 23rd, 2024 at the Huntsville, Alabama Aquatic Center. Competition is to be separated by boys and girls and between two sets of classifications, 1A through 5A and 6A through 7A. No list is available on individuals competing in this event. However, athletes will qualify for the state meet from sectionals mainly. In order to qualify for the state meet from sectionals, each event has minimum standards for that state meet. In other words, to qualify for the sectional of the state, you have to perform the minimum standard or better. This will vary depending on gender and by classifications. And altogether, there are 58 schools involved in the swimming and diving for class 1A through 5A. 67 schools are involved with swimming and diving for that competition for classes 6A through 7A. Also, outside of the sectional meet, if they do not qualify for state based off the state minimums from the sectional, they do allow for other qualifications from the USA Swimming and from other recreational swimming and other approved swimming, which you have to provide proof that you actually perform, that the athlete performed at the times at the state standard in order to qualify. Otherwise, if they do not provide that, they will be disqualified. So, let's look at the qualifying times for swimming and diving in this competition. The state minimum, this is the absolute minimum that you have to perform at or better in order to get to the state swimming and diving championship. We'll start with the classification 1A through 5A. We'll start with boys. In the 200 medley relay, 2 minutes, 2.99 seconds. The 200 freestyle, 2 minutes, 5.3 freestyle relay, 1 minute 46.79 seconds. The 100 backstroke, 1 minute 2.49 seconds. The 100 breaststroke, 1 minute 11.69 seconds. The freestyle relay, 4 minutes 6.49 seconds for the 400 freestyle. That is for the boys for class 1A through 5A. Now for the girls in class 1A through 5A in the same event. In the 200 medley relay, the girls have to do it in 2 minutes 12.09 seconds. The 200 freestyle, 2 minutes 15.09 seconds. The 200 individual medley, 2 minutes 32.09 seconds. 50 freestyle, 27.29 seconds. The 1 meter diving event, you have a series of dives, and they have to have 225 points. 100 butterfly, 1 minute 8.39 seconds. The 100 freestyle, 59.99 seconds. The 500 freestyle, 6 minutes 3.79 seconds. The 200 freestyle, 1 minute 58.59 seconds. The 100 backstroke, 1 minute 8.69 seconds. The 100 breaststroke, 1 minute 18 seconds. The 400 freestyle relay, 4 minutes 23.99 seconds. So now let's look at the classification 6A through 7A in the boys and the girls. We'll start with the boys, relating to what they have to qualify at, at this minimum time or better. In class 6A through 7A for the boys, 200 medley relay, 1 minute 52.59 seconds. 200 freestyle, 1 minute 55.19 seconds. 200 individual medley, 2 minutes 10.64 seconds. The 50 freestyle, 23.39 seconds. In the 1 meter diving, they have to have 250 points that they get from their various dives that they have to do to show that. In the 100 butterfly, 58.09 seconds. In the 100 freestyle, 51.79 seconds. In the 500 freestyle, 5 minutes 15.79 seconds. In the 200 freestyle relay, 1 minute 41.19 seconds. In the 100 backstroke, 58.89 seconds. In the 100 breaststroke, 1 minute 5.39 seconds. In the 400 freestyle relay is 3 minutes 46.79 seconds. Now, for the girls in class 6A through 7A, in order to qualify for a minimum standard, you have to have in the 200 medley relay 2 minutes 4.89 seconds. In the 200 freestyle, 2 minutes 5.49 seconds. In the 200 individual medley, 2 minutes 22.89 seconds. In the 50 freestyle, 25.89 seconds. In the 1 meter diving, they have to have 225 points. They get a series of dives that add up to that, based off of points and whatever they do with that. The 100 butterfly, 1 minute 3.79 seconds. The 100 freestyle is 56.99 seconds. The 500 freestyle is 5 minutes 40.09 seconds. The 200 freestyle relay is 1 minute 50.19 seconds. The 100 backstroke is 1 minute 4.39 seconds. The 100 breaststroke will be 1 minute 12.99 seconds. And the 400 freestyle relay will be 4 minutes 12.99 seconds. Again, if state qualifying times do not come from regular sectionals with proof, they can qualify based on times from USA sanctioned meets, Parks and Recreation sponsored meets, or any other approved meet, but they still have to meet the state minimum. So there you have it. That is the sports update that I can give you right now regarding high school football, high school girls flag football, and swimming and diving between the boys and the girls. And that stuff will be going on soon, and I will be providing updates as I can regarding how they're doing and stuff. Some of those updates might be in live stream, some may be just regular videos, but there still will be updates for that. So anyway, thank you again for taking the time to hear about how high school sports are going with playoffs in football, flag football, and swimming and diving. If you will, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, please hit the notification bell so you can be made aware of when I am broadcasting live with these special events regarding football, volleyball, or any other sports, when I have sports education videos, when I have sports action videos, and when I broadcast live or have other breaking news in the sports world. These these updates regarding high school sports, again, might be live, might be just regular videos. Not sure how that's going to work just yet, but we'll play it by ear and figure it out. Thank you again for joining me on this live broadcast. I am broadcasting live from the Veterans Memorial Park in Huntsville, Alabama, and I thank you, each and every one of you. If you wish to subscribe to my channel, I would greatly appreciate it if you did. To find me, you can go on the YouTube search tab and type in Bob Amin, Bobamin. You'll know it's me because I'll have Sports Live Media, the name of my media company, burned into a basketball as my avatar, so that way you can find me on YouTube. And also you can tag me on Twitter by looking for @BOBAMIN16 on the Twitter. So that way you know how to find me regarding YouTube and Twitter. Again, I thank you very much for your time today, and we'll see you the next time.